Welcome once again to another episode of B&B Hockey Talk, Friday, Vancouver Canucks edition. I'm your host, Aaron Blocks, with my co-host, Mr. Matt Balzer. Well, Matt, not a lot of hockey for the Canucks this week since we last talked, but last night they lost to the Arizona Coyotes 4-3, and I'll quote Ed Jovanovski to start off the show. Was that Messier out there or what? Because he said, I've played with Jacob Markstrom, but based on last night's game, he said he is not a starting goalie in the NHL. And that's coming from a guy that's friends with him, that knows him well. Man, I was disappointed when I saw the overtime goal, too. It definitely wasn't Mark Messier. In fact, it was Richard Panik, of all things. But did Markstrom show us that maybe he's not quite ready to be a number one yet?
Oh, I think of his play in December. It's just like he definitely showed that he can be a number one goalie. I didn't like the goal in overtime, especially with the way the Canucks were playing in that overtime. They were dictating most of the chances in that overtime, and then it just came off that rush off the wing. It was a really good shot. It was posting in. But even then, it's like with the guy being that far out from the shot, that's a save that you'd like Markstrom to make. But like if you go back to December, it's like nobody's talking about. Oh, is he a legit? Well, I still think he's the 1B in my eyes. But like he has shown that he can play strong at points in his career with the Canucks. But yeah, that is a shot that you would like him to save.
How soon till it's hashtag Demko time?
I know. Well, I'm hoping it's Sunday night against the Florida Panthers because it's just like I just want to see him in net. It's just like let's see where he's at. Florida isn't exactly doing the greatest right now. You got Roberto Luongo in town. I think it'd be a perfect time to get Demko in.
Elias Pettersson placed on IR this week. Is eligible to come back for Sunday's game. If he's healthy, does he come back and play Mike Matheson?
Well, I think we'd be hoping Eric Goodbranson would be doing something there. It'd probably be between him or Antoine Roussel getting up in Matheson's face. But yeah, I'm hoping like the thing is you don't want to rush him back, but if he's healthy, you want him in the lineup because the Canucks are well, when he's not in the lineup, you see the results of the way games go when he's not in the lineup. It's not really entertaining to watch.
Well, Florida earlier in the year had the Ekblad Domi incident that went basically untouched when they played each other again, although I think they still play each other one more time. Do you really think the Canucks are going to come out and do something on Matheson, or do you think it'll just be, hey, let's just finish our check on this guy all night long?
I wouldn't be surprised that I think somebody would come out and get him, especially being on home ice. You're gonna have the fans there. They're gonna want to see something, especially with it being Pettersson that did get hurt on that play, and I think the guys really felt bad that they actually didn't respond against Matheson, even though it was against the play. But even though it's just like when everybody sees it, it's just like, man, it's just like you got to do something at least there. So I think I would expect somebody to answer the bell to go at him.
Nice to have Sven Barchi back. Couple goals last night against Arizona. But where's the other goal scoring coming from? Like, there's so many guys that have just gone quiet. Michael Grenlund just really doesn't have a whole lot. Louis Eriksson's, I think, now goalless in something like 11 or 12. Virtanen's goalless in 10. What are they going to do? Like, can they just keep relying on Pettersson, or are they finally showing us the team that we all thought they were at the beginning of the year? And they're still 2-3 major pieces away from even contending.
Yeah, because I think that's the one thing we see with the Canucks is just like you still see all the holes on their team. Like even like Bo Horvat's gone pretty quiet of late offensively. But yeah, it's just you just see some of the guys that are in their lineup, and it's just like, man, how is this guy still playing? for the Canucks right now. Granlund being one of the top ones there. It's just you see him get 2 shifts in overtime. He gets walked twice, and it's just like how is this guy getting ice time over Gaudette or Godolman in overtime? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they do need some depth scoring. For Tannen, I'm hoping he can start to rip it up again pretty soon because we haven't shotgunned in a little while here. But yeah, but even then, he's still at 11 goals in 46 games, which isn't bad, and he's still on pace to get to that 20 goal mark this year, which we're hoping he does get. But yeah, it's like he just can't keep relying on Pedersen every game. But it is nice to get Sven Baertschi back in the lineup, up to 6 goals, 11 points in 14 games, which is really nice to see a winger other than like Brock Besser putting the puck in the net, which is nice. But yeah, I think we're slowly but surely going to see with them not having too many games this month that the other teams will start to catch up to them and they'll start to fall in the standings.
Yeah, I think it was nice to see the Baertschi, Horvat, Besser line back together last night. I don't see them keeping that line together when Pedersen does come back. But Gaudette gets back in the lineup after spending a couple games down the farm where he actually played very well.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back, has the confidence. You can see the confidence oozing out of the kid. Gets a goal last night. And I don't know. So before I cut into some other things I'm thinking of, do you think Gaudette's going to be here to stay? Or because of his situation where he doesn't have to clear waivers and asset management, he just might be that guy that has to unfortunately go back and forth until potentially the trade deadline?
Yeah. Depending on how Jim Benning's gonna want to do all his asset management, I would still like to see Gaudette with the team, and even if all the Canucks are healthy, I would like to see him bumped out to the wing, and send Tim Schaller down to the minors instead, so that way Gaudette can still get some ice time, and you got another younger guy that could produce offensively. And then that way you take away ice time from guys like Granlund. And then, of course, Schaller would be the guy I'd send down and give another young guy some ice time and some good NHL learning experience.
Well, nice to see some of the young guys really starting to improve their game over last year. We've mentioned Jake Virtanen already. That's another one that I think is going to continue to improve. Besser and Pedersen, of course, they're at a level all on their own. But guys like Hutton and Stetcher, I think, have really helped at the back and stepped up their game, too, over last year. Who stood out for you from last year that's made some big strides in their game and you can see a major improvement in it?
Oh, yeah. Well, the biggest one has to be Ben Hutton, I would say. Just night and day difference from being like a healthy scratch for most of the second half of the season. The guy's been logging huge minutes just about every game. I think he actually leads all Canuck defensemen in total ice time this year. Part of that has to be due with some injuries to some guys, but even then, he's still logging over 20 minutes a night. I'd still like to see him get rid of Goodbranson on his pairing and Troy Stetcher get into that top 4 over Goodbranson, just because there's a lot of stats that I won't get into too much, but
help us if they have to put Goodbranson and Pouliot together.
Well, I'd rather see that and limit them like to 14, 15 minutes a night or something like that. And Stetcher, who has some of the best underlying data on the team this year, get a better chance. Like he already has more points than he did all last season, in basically like 20 less games, which is great to see. And but Ben Hutton, he already has 4 goals, 15 points this year. He didn't have a goal last year, so that's an improvement. Just for starters' sake there, though, I would like to see a little bit more improvement on that second power play unit with him there, just because there hasn't been a whole lot of production from that second unit. But other than that, I think he's been playing great. Other than having Goodbranson, trying to bring Goodbranson up with him when he does play with them.
You mentioned Adam Gaudette potentially as someone that you'd like to see on the wing. I think I'd like to see that too now that all their centers are healthy. Last night, I was looking at the stats. I believe they're at almost 65% on the face-off. And it was funny because Horvat, Sutter, and Beagle all had massive amounts of wins, and then Gaudette was at like 30%. And we know Pedersen will probably be, a 35, 45% guy when he is healthy. That's typically his numbers. But the other three guys are so strong on faceoffs. It's helped the penalty kill. It's helped possession. You see how easy they make it look when they win those draws. To me, that's a huge strength of this team. But what is one of the other strengths maybe that goes unnoticed that you see in this group of guys?
Well, I'd have to think about that one a little bit.
Throwing you on the spot.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. I think some of the back checking from some of the forwards, like I'll touch on Pedersen just for a little bit. I think his two-way game is actually incredible. Like I think there was this clip from when they played Ottawa that the Senators broke up on a 2-on-1, and he's at the offensive circle, and he comes all the way back full speed to break up just as the Senators are about to shoot the puck in front of the net. He came all the way back to break up that scoring chance. And I know a while back he took some criticism, or he thought he was getting some criticism from the Vancouver media about his two-way play, and he took that personally. But I haven't had any concerns about his two-way play. But I think it is something, if you watch the Canucks, that he is probably the best defensive forward that the Canucks have, and it's something a little bit underrated there that people don't talk about as much.
I think Brandon Sutter would have something to say about that. Although Antoine Roussel is another guy that I see really busting back all the time. And, you like to see that kind of effort as long as they're not out of position. So fill us in on some of the farm teams players that have stood out to you over the last week, as well as some other stats, fun things that you got there for us.
Yeah, so Cole Linden, his last 3 games, has 3 assists, which is really nice to see. So he only has 6 assists in 23 games, but it's nice to see in the last couple games that he's been starting to put up some points. Adam Gaudette, as you mentioned earlier, was down for a couple of games with Utica, had 2 goals and an assist. So he's up to a point a game, 4 goals, 7 points in 7 games there. Jonathan Dahlen has quieted off a little bit. He's still at 18 points, but up to 36 games. Lucas Yasik has actually caught up to him in points with 18, but in 4 fewer games. Zach McEwen's also quieted off a little bit, only the 1 goal, but he's still up to 29 points in 39 games. Jonah Gadovic only played the 1 game over the past 3 games, which is another guy that I'd like to see get a bit more ice time down in Utica, and is still sitting at 4 points in 21 games. And then going back to all the unsigned guys, Quinn Hughes is returning to Michigan tonight to play his first game since the World Juniors. Petrus Palmu is still at 5 points in 7 games, though he did practice on a line with Capo Caco with his team as his center. So that'll be fun to watch, especially with Caco looking to be a top 2 pick in this year's draft. And Jet Wu is up to 7 goals, 33 points in 33 games played. The guy's just having a heck of a year in Moose Jaw right now. And I really like to see where exactly his point totals finish up by the end of the year, because that's really exciting, especially with the lack of depth on the right-hand side of the Canucks defense.
Yeah, it's still maybe a few years away until we see him in a Canucks uniform, but nice to see that they're starting to stock the cupboards. That's for sure. So remember, as the Canucks continue to lose, we got the hashtags lose for Hughes, and the other hashtag play Crapo for Capo. I don't know if they're quite there yet, but it would be nice to have the other Hughes brothers on this hockey team. As a Canucks fan, we can dream for sure. But why don't you end us off with the last words for tonight?
All right, yeah. So I'll be catching up on the highlights from yesterday's games, along with today's game. I had a hockey game
no excuses,
yesterday.
Man. No excuses.
Yeah, pretty busy for me on the ice this week. So I'll be catching up everybody up from the Canuck highlights tonight and the rest of the major highlights from yesterday's game. And then there's only 4 games on the NHL schedule tonight, so I'll have all those highlights up tonight. And yeah, I think we're getting close to 70 followers on our Facebook page. So thank you all for subscribing to our Facebook page. And to make it easier, click the subscribe button on our YouTube page, so that way you don't have to go through all of the highlights on our Facebook page just in case if you miss any of our videos.
Absolutely. It's funny how we only have about 70 followers, yet there's some of the posts that we have hit, 4-digit plus views. So maybe one of our avid fans is watching our highlights over and over and over. No, we thank you guys for commenting and sharing. Remember to comment, share with us about, today let's focus on the Canucks, but you're welcome to always talk with us about your favorite hockey team, whether it be the Canucks or not, and talk about your favorite players and what's going on around the league, because we love hockey here at B&B Hockey Talk. So to close it out, I'm Aaron Bloxel with Matt Balzer, wishing you guys a fantastic evening and a great weekend. See you guys on Monday.